Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Laying It Out. I'm your host, Chelsea Pockets.
And I'm Scotti Dempsey.
For today's episode, well, we should bring up last week, or 2 weeks ago, a few people called us out for being too young and not knowing what some nationals teams are. And actually, I did look it up, and I think the Chad Larson experience was a mixed team still in 2019. So I'd like to formally apologize for my lack of ultimate knowledge. But today we are having a more universal episode. We're going to be talking about getting back into shape and kind of the roughness revolved around that. And then also we're going to be looking back on our quarantine hobbies that we participated in. We may seem young, but we have old bodies, and I wrote on our notes for this episode, all I wrote was Tumblr post, I have to tell Scotti, and it's just been sitting there for like a week. So I don't know how true this is, but I saw some Tumblr posts, so that means it's probably completely wrong. But it was like someone was like, "Oh, like isn't it horrible how the moment you're born you start dying?" or whatever. And someone was like, actually, you don't start dying till like the age 23, because that's when your cells stop reproducing at the same or at a slower rate that they're dying.
I've actually heard this.
I don't know if it's true. I didn't look it up because I am a great journalist. But yes. I thought since we're both 23 and we're talking about trying to get back in shape after almost a year of not playing, or over a year of not playing Frisbee.
Yeah.
It was a little That's relatable funny. Tidbit.
Yeah, I actually have heard that. My old manager at my my mall job when I was in high school, he said it was 25 because he was turning 25 at that point. But I've heard that, so I guess now we started dying. That's dark. In terms of horrible transition. In terms of the past year of quarantine, it's kind of crazy that it's been a whole year of this. Like, I keep writing 2020 on things.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, right. It's actually not March. I actually did graduate college, to whatever degree of pomp and circumstance there was for that. And for all you guys listening to this right now, we're going to be releasing this episode on 420. We're obviously recording a little bit early, but just thinking about how 420 is a holiday for some people. And take that as you will. They just legalized weed in New York State, so it can be a national holiday if you desire, or statewide. I don't know. Anyway, I remember maybe not around this time last year, obviously, because I was home by now. But at the beginning of this year, everyone was talking about how it would be like so fun that there's like a whole month of 420. So it was like, oh yeah, 2020 is going to be so lit. And then someone else pointed out that Halloween was on a Saturday. Christmas was on a Friday. Thanksgiving was on a Thursday. So it was like all
Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday.
That's the joke.
Oh. I was really worried you were going to just make yourself seem stupid on the internet for a second.
No, don't worry. Actually, my 23rd birthday was on Thanksgiving this year, so that's a holiday in itself. Or I guess last year. It's not 2020 anymore, Scotti. Duh.
Yeah, I keep forgetting.
For real. But then, the whole world shut down, and it didn't really matter what days we celebrated things because we were still not really going to be going anywhere in the morning. So as fun as Zoom drinking is, we had a pretty rowdy Zoom New Year's. I'm definitely looking forward to getting out and getting my second vaccination and being able to get back to kind of my life and also Frisbee in general.
Yeah, speaking of vaccinations, we can look at some current news. I know Biden announced that every adult will be eligible to get a vaccine by the 19th, so the day before this comes out, which is great. Hopefully some more good news will follow that, and hopefully we'll keep seeing this trend of more things starting to open up, people staying healthy with these vaccines, let's hope.
Yeah.
Other current events, I think we're trying to find before this episode, like instances of Frisbee teams in our areas or summer leagues that might be popping up. Nothing seems to be really concrete yet. There's one summer league that's going to be happening an hour north of me in Pennsylvania, I know of. Is there anything happening in New York near you?
So I'm currently in Albany, and Albany Ultimate Disc League has sent out a couple emails. I signed up for their mailing list. Now that I've got this whatever degree of ultimate celebrity, I'm like, oh, you guys should want me, right? But they were doing more safety surveys. Like, what would you feel comfortable playing? Like, if this did not happen, would you play? You know, what has to happen for you to want to play? So they're starting with that. But on a total tangent, I think I'm officially going to move to New York City in June. So starting my new job and my adult life, and I'm really excited about that. I'm roommate hunting. I'm talking to some girls. It's kind of like weird online dating where I'm like, hey, do you want to live together?
Hey, if you're a Frisbee person living in New York City and you want to live with Scotti.
I keep common areas clean, but my room is a rat's nest. But we don't talk about that because I keep the door closed. That's me, my gremlin space, you know? But I'm hoping to move in June, so that would definitely impact what ultimate teams I look at there, you know, and summer leagues and where you play ultimate, where you get to practice that if there is anywhere that's not Central Park that's green enough for that. So kind of in between. I don't know if I really want to commit to a summer league 100%, but it'll at least be good to have someone to throw and catch a disc with.
That would be
at the
nice.
very least. Yes. So that's summer league for me.
Yeah, I was looking at, you mentioned like interest surveys to see the safety of things. My living situation might change in the next couple of months, but who knows? Because I don't want to keep paying for an apartment that I don't need because my office keeps extending the work from home indefinitely. So we'll see about that. But I was looking at teams in many different areas, and I think I saw like 3 of them put out interest forms to be like, what level of safety are you comfortable with? Do you want to travel for tournaments and all this other stuff? So I'd like to see that people are being safe about coming back to play, because that's a big concern of mine, and I'm not sure yet if I want to play club this summer because of it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, for me, it'll be a great way to meet people in a gigantic city that like, I know some people
you
there,
could just stand out on the street and yell, like, does anyone want to be my friend?
Hey, I'm looking for a friend. I'll just wave a disc around over my head. That sounds like a great idea.
You should. I was gonna say you should just like hit someone like a meet cute in a rom-com, like you're throwing the Frisbee in Central Park or whatever, and you hit some random passerby, and then all of a sudden it sparks this either great friendship, romantic story. Maybe it's your long lost uncle or something.
But actually, it's New York City, and everyone has the talent to ignore everything that's happening around them, which actually I'm also good at. I love when I'm walking around, like, Albany with my mom, and there's something... Actually, it's not even Albany. I'm walking around, like, the mall, and there's something weird going on. My mom's like, look at that! But I'm like, I'm already training for New York City, where I just, like, mind my own business and let people do their own weird stuff around me.
I have seen TikToks where someone's like, oh, this is how you tell who's actually from New York. And it's like on some New York City street and someone just screams, like a loud scream. And then whoever looks is not actually from New York.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love those TikToks that are like, why'd you move to New York? And it's like, the ambiance. And it's like a rat dragging a piece of pizza like across the subway tracks. So looking forward to that for sure.
For people that don't know, Scotti and I really like rats. So I think New York City's going to be a good place for you.
Yeah. Yes.
All
exactly.
right. Getting out of this tangent of an introduction that we've done, let's actually hop into what we wanted to talk about today. So getting in shape for the season. I think to start, we should actually talk about what we did for working out before the pandemic happened, like in college. And it's sad for both of us.
Yes. Yes. So with that little teaser, first, we're going to take a quick break to get an ad from our sponsor, because we love our made-up sponsor ads, and then we will be right back.
What do you mean made up? We've made money off of this. We've made like $7, right?
I got 5.
Well, you and I both got individual. Okay, we're not talking about money. We got $7.
Okay, well, roll ad clip. This first sponsor of our clearly very focused podcast is who I like to call my plug. I get really sad at my current. Well, actually, no, I'm done with it. I'm done with my temp job, and I go to the Walmart parking lot because actually the biggest Walmart in not upstate New York, in this country is in Albany. And next to the Walmart is Panera Bread, and they hook me up with a small mac and cheese at least once a week. I go at least once a week. I bring a lunch, and then I also get mac and cheese because I'm sad. And I wouldn't be here without Panera mac and cheese. I wouldn't be the person I am, and that's why instead of them sponsoring me, I think that I'm just sponsoring Panera, and I should probably go buy some stock. But this one's for you, Panera Bread. You and your mac and cheese. You always a consistent friend.
Thank you, sponsor Panera, for that lovely ad break. So actually getting into it now. So Scotty, what was your workout routine like in college for Frisbee, and then I guess just like any time pre-pandemic?
Routine is a bit of a stretch, as I'm sure that, as you know, the definition of routine is like consistency. And the only thing that the only times I worked out consistently was when we had practice. So, I mean, that would be like the main thing that I did. And to like stay in shape, keep in shape, work on, all sorts of Frisbee stuff. And that's really not like the model of, a really good athlete. I'm sure, in college you don't really have a ton of free time, or actually you have a lot of free time, but you don't really spend it the wisest.
Well, no.
So maintaining a healthy lifestyle was something that I definitely struggled with outside of practice. Get all our unhealthy eating habits aside. But some things that I did do on my own time, I really do like to lift. I learned how to lift when I was running track in high school, so it was definitely less intimidating going to the gym. And Chad from Sigma Chi was there throwing around some 500-pound squat racks and just grunting,
like
and then
this,
also
waving exactly. Your arms up in the air,
waving your arms around, and then taking 10-minute long breaks between reps so you couldn't get a squat rack to save your life. But those grievances aside, I knew what I was doing, and I liked to work out to look good, less so than staying in shape, because I knew that the cardio and all that stuff would come with doing practice, but I wanted to maintain a certain physique, which is, I guess, one of the goals of working out. You can go back and forth on whether or not gym bros have eating disorders, and it's just a whole other topic, but that's kind of where my lifting habits came from. I like to do a lot more lower weight, higher rep stuff, because I was really built when I was running high school track, and I did not want to maintain that. Just with how clothes fit, I had to buy pants a size up to fit my thunder thighs. So
they're a good thunder thighs.
Yeah, because I was so jacked, because I was running track and then lifting, and working out was like a whole side thing. And I didn't even like track that much. But it was good because I learned a lot about lifting and realized that I liked it because I don't really like to run without a purpose. So I go on runs now, but I really only do like 2 miles because then I get bored. And that
you gotta listen to podcasts. That's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to start doing that. But those are some of our, workout tips that we'll get to.
Yeah.
So that was about as disorganized as my choices to work out are. How about you, Pockets? You're the captain of the team.
Oh, yeah, no. I might have been worse than you. At least you liked going to the gym. When I went to the gym, so for our team, we would always do winter workouts, we called it. So the moment we got back on campus until our first tournament, since it was still cold outside, we couldn't practice outside as often. We would have little weekly workout groups. It was actually more than once a week of 4 people. One of them was going to the gym, which you touched on. One of them was a throwing workout and a long distance running workout. The other one was stairs. And the one exercise I actually really like is running stairs.
Oh my God. You freak.
I know. But yeah, I didn't work out a lot in college, especially in the fall. Cause just even in my before life, I mentioned I played volleyball in high school. Up until that 9th grade, I didn't do a sport besides soccer in kindergarten, where you just run around like a chicken with their head cut off. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So up until then, just going to high school practices was working out for me. And then in college, going to practice 3 times a week was working out for me. So that's I was definitely more injury prone, I would say, which is, I feel injury prevention is something a lot of college students don't realize how important it was. I also have a bad habit of not drinking water. So there are many tournaments where I have weirdly caught the disc and then something happens where I'm so dehydrated that me extending for this disc, I get a bad cramp and I'm done for the rest of the day. Yeah. That's happened on multiple occasions, but no, I'm when I go to the weight room, I am lifting the least amount of weight. I max out. I max out on the assisted pull-up bar machine, though. Yes, max weight. But, do you get the joke that I'm?
Tell us. Tell our listeners about your bench press prowess.
Oh, so I guess the minimum that you should bench, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but most girls in our workout group could bench at least the minimum of the bar. So that 40-pound bar. I cannot do that. And they had to find a special little bar for me that was 25 pounds that I would bench. This is senior year. I have little twig arms. I think I have an issue with my elbows because I can't do a push-up without elbow pain. So I do the assisted ones where you're on your knees. Mm-hmm. But it's still really sad. But yeah, basically, Scotti and I are just saying that our workout experience before quarantine was sad, except I like stairs. I run stairs.
I think one thing I want to note, though, is, we were we're not role models, because I think we're more normal, and it's totally normal to be a college student and not have a consistent workout routine. I think that if you went on any college campus and you were do you work out regularly? Not a lot of people, there wouldn't be a majority of people that say yes, and I think even less of that would be girls. It's definitely. I'm trying to think because people do the guys tend to lift and girls tend to always be on the elliptical or the treadmill. But and there's a lot of people that like do it consistently, and like, good for you. I wish I had your, I don't know, togetherness. I was just not that organized ever. But I also think that it's like normal to not, because you're also trying to navigate your whole life.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
totally
I didn't want you to go out there. I'd say like a majority of college students don't go to the gym, because I honestly don't know what the numbers would have been. We were surrounded by the Frisbee team, and I feel like a lot more of them worked out more consistently than we actually knew about, when you think about it. But I also do like your point, like for a college student who's juggling like schoolwork, extracurricular activities, I could speak, possibly a job, just like the general stress of being an 18 to 22-year-old on their own for the first time. Like I could understand, like, it's okay if you can't have a consistent workout routine.
Because we were lucky that we did have practice to like give us that structure. And I will say, definitely on our team, there was a noticeable difference in like playing ability with people that like worked out really consistently versus people that just used practice. So that is a motivator, I think. Use that as a motivator, not like a reason to like hate someone that they're, I don't know, they dedicate more time to working out, because everyone's priorities are different, and especially in college, you got a lot of stuff to try to figure out.
So now that we've spoken about our pre-pandemic, have you done any working out over the past year?
Yes. But I haven't like pointedly worked out. Like, it's not like I go to the gym. I'm really kind of scared to go to the gym. I don't want to work out with a mask on, and I don't want to be touching bars that other people are touching. So I don't go to the gym. I also don't want to pay for a gym membership. But most recently, you know, I've been going on runs, like I said, kind of the same deal, like 2 miles max. I sometimes will go with my dad and his running friends who are like, ultra marathoners is incorrect because that's like a further distance than a regular marathon, but all of them are in the double digits for the number of marathons that they've run. So I go on easy run days with them and do like 6 miles. And that's fun because they talk a lot and I can just kind of drag myself along behind and wheeze and laugh because they're really funny. So that's nice to do that sometimes. Aside from that, like, I guess sometimes I do abs on my floor. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, sometimes I go to my high school field and throw a disc by myself. And that's my favorite way to work out, because at least...
But you sprint when you do that. Like, you'll throw it and then you'll run after it. Yeah.
Well, I throw a couple and then I, like, sprint to them. And then, you know, chop your feet and kind of try to practice that type of thing. Because, yeah, it is a good way to get cardio in. And it's a good way to at least practice changing your grip on the disc. So it works for me. And in the fall, I think I mentioned maybe I was working at a horse barn. I've been riding horses my whole life, pretty much. I really like it. It's a fun fact about me. I do not own a horse. My mom has a horse, but it's pretty accessible around here. There's a lot of open space. So I was working at a horse barn, and that was kind of turning into 12-hour days on my feet. So I'd ride 3 to 4 horses a day, and then, you know, also be carrying grain bags or hay bales. And that's like an interesting way to find physical activity in your everyday life. I was exhausted all the time. But like, it worked as a way to, air quotes, work out. So that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, I mean, if you're standing on your feet 12 hours, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? How was your post-pandemic workout scene looked?
Towards the very end of it, it's a lot better than the beginning and the rest of it. But so in January, I'd started my new adult job. And I was like, you know what? For last January 2020.
Right.
I was like, for this club season, because I haven't been great about working out in college, I'm going to make sure that I'm tippity top shape. I'm going to stretch all the time. I'm going to go, my apartment complex has a built-in gym. I'm going to go lift weights. And then everything shut down. I was like, I don't really want to go to the gym because, like you said, I don't like working on a mask, although I'm going to have to figure out how to do that soon.
Yeah.
I don't really feel comfortable touching things that other people have touched. So I kind of tapered off, did a few body weight workouts, would try to run around my apartment complex. And then it became very clear that there wasn't going to be a season 2020. So then all motivation fell. And then I became a little hermit. I would sit in my pajamas all day and eat popcorn for dinner. But now I've actually, Scotty knows this because she's my best friend, but I love Excel spreadsheets. I love Excel spreadsheets. And so I've like planned out, on the first page, I'll block it out by weeks. So week 1 through whatever. And I was like, okay, these weeks are going to be, just kind of like a gray area where I'm just going to try and move like 3 times a week, maybe like a walk at lunch and stuff. And then these next couple segments of weeks, this is going to be the pre-season where I'm going to start doing some body weight workouts. I'm going to start stretching and stuff. Now I'm in the running phase. Because now there's like 8 weeks until we might possibly play again. That's like the absolute earliest I would play is like 8 weeks from now. So I'm doing a couch to 5K running plan. My dad laughs at me every time I say that. I'm on week 2 of it. And basically, at least for the first, actually, I could pull it up on I have it written down on my thing. Week 1 was you run a minute, then walk a minute, and then you do that 10 times. So total of 20 minutes, 3 times a week. Now I'm on week 2 where I run a minute and a half and then walk a minute and a half for a total of 7 times. So 21 minutes. So 3 times a week. And then it just keeps upping and upping and upping it until eventually you can run a 5K and hopefully not die. So that's been mine. Yeah. I mean, you're a little bit above me because you kind of, like, you could already run like 1.5 miles nonstop, right?
Yeah.
I can't right now.
I'm not
really,
happy
really
about it. But
I'm really out of shape. Like, very badly out of shape. To all you listeners out there that feel like you're out of shape, I'd like to have a contest, a running contest, and I will lose.
It's just to make you feel better. Because I think like the toughest thing has been like coming home from work, because I work in person, or I did. I guess it's tangent. I was doing a temp job from the end of January until today. Today was my last day, as it is April 15th. Remember when we talked about taxes? That's why I know so much about taxes. I was working at a like 3-person accounting firm. So I made 4. And we were working in person because they're super old school and like don't really do anything online. Which is fine because it was just they worked 7 days a week. So they were their own bubble. So then I just got added to the bubble to like be working with them. So that tangent aside, I'd get home from work at 5, and especially January through mid-March, it was dark basically by then, and it was cold. And I live in upstate New York, which is a tundra, and it's supposed to snow tomorrow, Friday, again. So finding the motivation to work out outside is really brutal. And that is, I think, something that hurt me a lot in terms of even just maintaining fitness. Which sucks.
So what tips do you have for people to try and like turn it around? Because I know my spreadsheet idea worked for me because I could see exactly what progress I have been making and when I have been taking breaks and how that hurts me. But I know not everyone wants to keep a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So what works for you?
Unfortunately, I'm in the same boat as you, where a checklist really motivates me. I love to write things down and check them off. It's something that I do to help deal with my own anxiety about general life and existence. And even if I'm going to write something down just to check it off, like, that satisfaction just hits different.
I do that at work sometimes. I'm like, ooh, organized my notes. writing that down, even though that wasn't scheduled for today. Check off. Went through my emails. Check off.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing, well, one thing we both also have like fitness watches. I don't know if that motivates you, but for me, I bought a Fitbit when it was on sale in February. So I think it was like $60, which is pretty good. And I love playing video games because I'm a nerd. And I was kind of imagining it, like, how many steps can I get? Like, what are my character's stats for the day? How many times am I standing up? What's my heartbeat at? I also use it like track sleep and stuff. And then they send you a weekly report in an email.
We love graphs, charts, facts, and figures.
I know. So it's just kind of like that one also motivates me. So if you're willing to spend the money, I would suggest and I got the most basic one. All you need is something that's going to track your steps, track your heartbeat. And then mine also works as a timer. So for those interval runs that I was talking about, it'll like beep and let me know to start and stop.
Yeah. I got an Apple Watch, I say, as I check it for no reason. Now I have the Twitch where I just look at it constantly and I get my texts on it, which is nice, but also very distracting. I don't know. I got it maybe for the drip. I was like, I want to be able to walk away from my phone and read my texts or not like be able to be disconnected from my phone. I'm way too connected. That's its own other issue, but it does send me fun little notifications to stand up. So sometimes I just sit and I shake my wrist so that way it thinks I'm standing. And it's very nice to see like my exercise, but that's again, like that's kind of like my checking boxes thing. It like the same thing, like seeing the exercise and the move rings close is like, okay, box checked for today. Like good work. So that's like, again, that's my like big motivator. I think if anyone doesn't get motivated by checking boxes off, I mean, like I mentioned before with just general appearance, I just like the way I look better when I've been like working out. I mean, the summer's coming up. Maybe we'll be going to the beach. So like that's kind of a reason is to like look good in a bathing suit. And I want like again like I want to look good for me because that's how I feel like confident and like I know I'm healthy because I know I'm taking care of myself. Obviously, you know, beauty standards are kind of brutal out there and it's hard to conform like one way or the other. And even like different body types in sports, it's like, well, then not everyone you know, feels comfortable in this and that, but that's like kind of a bit of a vanity point for me. And I think maybe for a lot of people, it's a totally valid way to motivate yourself as long as it's within the bounds of like being healthy, you know?
Yeah. No, you're touching on something I kind of wanted to bring up. Like it's good to like work out and want to look good for you. But there is something that I kind of hate about at least what I've seen in the Frisbee community. I don't know if other sports do this, but like the word fat season, like I kind of hate that. I hate when people are like, oh, the season's over, time to get like fat. Like, yeah, like if taking a break on your body and like eating whatever you want is what you want to do, like go ahead and do it. But there are like larger people that can be athletic, can be in shape, can play ultimate and be really good at it. But that's just their body is larger. Like I'm a naturally skinny person. And like I was saying, I can't run a mile right now. Like, so just kind of what you were touching, like if you want to like work out and look good and that's what motivates you, good. But also I don't want that to be like, I don't want looking good and being healthy or looking good in quotes, like society's version of good. I don't want those two to be correlated.
Yeah. And
that's just my soapbox moment.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this as well because like also everyone's just built different. Like it no matter like you're just put together different. I have a really, really short torso. I'm really short to begin with. And I have a short torso. So like whatever degree of like flat stomach you're going for is going to look different when all your organs are jammed into a 6-inch like area versus like if you're tall and have a long torso, it's like everyone just looks different and that's great. I'm we love diversity because then that's a spice of life. But I'm going to try to get off this soapbox because I could go on for a while and, you know, get into all sorts of stuff and maybe even put my foot in my mouth. So, moving on, I think that's a way to motivate yourself. I think, one thing that Pockets and I have been trying to do, but a little bit unsuccessfully, is working out together.
Oh, we haven't done that in a long time now.
I mean, I still send you a text every time I work out, which
yeah. And I do too. I've been like, oh, I just ran. But we were going to be like, oh, we're going to work out at the same time, but like in our separate states.
Or at least in the same apart. 24 hours.
Yeah. Like, and we're going to be like, we're going to do this workout. I like sent her this thing. It's like, we're running twice a day. We're doing this body weight circuit twice a week. And then we're going to do arms and core twice a week. Friday is our rest day. And then I think we did that for a week.
Yeah. And I think, like, luckily both of us flaked at the same time. But it is so hard to want to, like, get off the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And even if, you know, I'm so bored that TV bores me. I just want to sit on my phone and be like, I don't know. I don't even know what I look at. But I think in a weird little segue, that's the nice thing about this podcast for me is I've been able to, like, take in what's happening around me. Like, I'm really keeping up to date on Ultimate News because I just write down things in my little journal. Pockets has her little journal and I have mine. And I write down all the things that I think I want to talk about and, like, how they made me feel. And, like, all, you know, it kind of helps me enjoy what I'm doing a little more as well. So
yeah, the fact that Ultimate might be coming back is even just like motivation enough sometimes to want to do something, because I want to be able to play if we can play. I want to be physically able to play.
Yeah.
So right now I can't.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily a lot of other people are going to be out of shape, but hey, you might stand out on the field.
But there are some people.
Shape.
Yeah, no, there's going to be people that are at, I feel like I'm at a slight advantage. I remember when this was first happening last year, I was like, oh, I already don't work out. I'm going to be at a better advantage than everyone else because they're also not working out right now. But now it's been a whole year. There are people that have like bought home gyms. Like you can't buy dumbbells anymore because they're all bought out. People bought the Pelotons. All the people I work with, they're on their Pelotons, not while working, but they're talking about it. So, like, there's going to be people that are coming back, and they're going to be in shape. I feel like it's going to be such a wide range of, I don't know, like, fitness levels when we come back.
Yeah, and trying out for club teams in a new city where I don't even know if I'm in shape or not. Yikes! So, we'll see how that goes, but I guess in the meantime, I'll still try to go on runs and stuff.
Yar, mateys, it's I, No Beard, the pirate, dropping an anchor to give a big old yo-ho to my favorite to-do podcast, Laying It Out, on the Ultraworld Podcast Network. Give it a review and a 5-star rating, or you just might be walking the plank, just like that guy at pickup who scurries up behind you for a dump every time you catch the disc, even though you're way better and you've got the bones to prove it. Yo-ho, yo-ho, it's the pirate life for me.
Yo-ho!
The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the Wellerman come and bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tongue is out.
Welcome back after that excellent ad read. I want to point out I was paid to say that. Did not come up with that on my own.
That's what sponsors are for.
That's what sponsors are for. We sell our souls for a few sponsorship. All right. So for this final kind of segment of the main podcast, Scotti and I wanted to talk about the hobbies that we took up during quarantine, because I know it's been over a year, and there's a lot of things that people have started doing, maybe continued, maybe not, over the past year to keep them sane. So, Scotti, what were your top hobbies that you picked up in 2020?
So a big one for me was journaling. I mentioned a little bit about how it helps me with the checklist, motivate to work out and to also, just keep track of my thoughts. And like, that's basically what it is. I was recommended to do it kind of like as a therapy thing, to like make a list and be like, oh, all these things that I'm stressed out about are not that big of a deal. It's not as overwhelming as it feels like when you write it down on paper. It's not that bad. And also, as I go through my day, I collect like stickers or business cards or anything that I can like put in my journal. And it's like a fun little scrapbook for me because it helps me like keep my thoughts organized. And then also it's like a way that I plan out all the stuff that I want to say on this podcast as well. Yeah. And I was running an art Instagram for a little bit. I did a lot of art and I was doing a lot of like collage journaling on that as well. So that was my like little creative outlet, especially before this started. And it's been,
yeah, I liked looking at your Instagram. It inspired me a little bit to attempt journaling, but I didn't get very far. So you are definitely the journaling expert of the two of us.
Something like that. Yeah. And then the other fun thing that I did is I have started brewing my own kombucha. I took a little break while I was working, but my sister got me a SCOBY for our birthday because we're twins. So it is our birthday, not mine. And it is the SCOBY is a fun little bacteria slime thing that you put in sweet tea, and it ferments the sugar in the tea into like kombucha, like vinegary, like probiotic energy drink, whatever kombucha is. And I love kombucha. So it's fun to make my own, and it's a lot, cheaper than buying it at a store. And I'm not that great at it because I have trouble getting it carbonated, but it's fun.
I want to try doing that too, because you introduced me to kombucha whenever I visited you in October. Scotti took me around. She showed me all the Albany sites.
There are
and
so
then
many.
Took me to this like health food, not health food. What was it called?
It's an organic food co-op. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in love with it. You could bring your own container and then they had a big tub of tofu box, and you could package your own tofu. And
yeah,
that was really cool.
You buy in bulk, so you bring your own container and they weigh the container, and then when you leave, they also weigh the container and you pay for however much weight of food that you got. So it's fun. It's sustainable. It limits plastic packaging, which is always great. There's too much plastic in the world. And yeah, so that's where we got kombucha. It's a great place to get kombucha.
Yeah, I had a good time.
I'll give you a SCOBY the next time I see you. I'll give you a slime.
Yes. I want to make my own.
How did you stay entertained for the past year?
Yeah, well, the big one is I fostered, or I'm currently fostering, a cat. Her name is Wawa. She made it onto our Instagram. Shout out to that.
We have Instagram now. Social media.
So you can check her out there. I actually started the process of fostering her before quarantine. And I think the first day I was working from home was that March 13th, that Friday. Yeah. And I got her. She actually arrived at my apartment that weekend. And she is a bit of a troublemaker. She's not a very kind cat to strangers. After a year of living with her, she definitely likes me. But the unfortunate thing is my boyfriend doesn't mesh with her. And it's not like he doesn't like cats, so I can never have a cat. Like Wawa is a little bit special.
Bristly.
She's a little mean. I don't did
attack my foot once.
Yeah. She's mellowed out a little bit, but so I'm still fostering her. I'm not adopting her. But I'll keep her as long until we can find her a home. But she can't go with kids. She can't go with other animals. It needs to be ideally someone, because I work from home, so I'm home all the time. Someone that's home all the time, because she's gotten really attached to me. So that was my big quarantine activity, is fostering a cat. I mean, she's sweet. I like her, but I also there was a joke. So sometimes during lunches my sophomore year, because that's when we still had to eat on campus at our school, sometimes my friends we would make just lists, random lists. So it's like, who are you in the Star Wars universe? Why would you go to prison? Random lists. One list we made is how would you die on Burkle, which is the street we all lived on.
Right.
Is how would you die? And the reason that I would die is because I got rabies because I tried to adopt some animal off the street. So I like
back to the New York City subway rats conversation.
Yes. I have debated also just getting pet rats too. But I'm okay with animals being a little bit mean to me because Wawa's like 9 years old. I don't know what her life has been. Maybe she has some rough times. She could be sweet sometimes, but she just gets a little grouchy. So she was my main quarantine hobby. Looking at my list of things. The other one, I'm not very exciting. Like I attempted to do all these like new things, like candle making, and I didn't attempt baking or anything. But the one thing I consistently did was video games because I'm a nerd. And shout out also, I'm shouting out all these things. Shout out to the Ultiworld Discord. I think someone was looking to get a Switch soon, a Nintendo Switch. And they were looking for game recommendations. And so many people recommended Breath of the Wild, which is the Legend of Zelda game for the Switch. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely love that game. You would like it a lot, Scotty.
Okay.
If you got a Switch, because you could just ride a horse all around the map.
That's the dream.
Yes, that is the dream. So I did play a lot of video games, Breath of the Wild being one. The Civilization series, I have 5 and 6, if people know what that is. And then I got this weird one. It's kind of like, not really Sims, like Roller Coaster Tycoon, but you build a zoo. So Zoo Tycoon.
I love Zoo Tycoon.
Yeah, but it's called Planet Zoo, so it's a little bit different. But I don't know. I have a lot of fun playing that and building my own zoo or whatever. I have a little grizzly bear who's very cute. So that was my 2 quarantine activities. And I think the other one that we have to talk about is disc golf, which I think 75% of the ultimate Frisbee population probably has tried, if I'm just throwing numbers out there. So, Scotty, did you play any disc golf during the quarantine, during the pandemic?
I played 1 round during the
pandemic.
Wow. That was when I came to visit you in Philly, outside of Philly, King of Prussia area. And we went with our 3 guy friends. And that was the second time I have ever played disc golf, actually. I played campus disc golf around Lehigh once. It was when I had first joined the team-ish. Like, I joined the team, at the beginning of the spring semester. So then by the time we were doing this, it was like towards the end of the spring. But I still couldn't really throw a very good backhand. And that is pretty detrimental to playing disc golf. And then the friends that I was playing with think it's funny to make fun of you. So that really, made me feel good all around while I was really just struggling to play disc golf. So, 13 strokes per hole. It's like how I play mini golf.
That's a lot. I feel like the cap, you usually are just like, oh, I'm not going to finish. Cap me at 10 or something. Why didn't you do that?
Because I don't like to start something and not finish it.
That's good.
I was like, I'm going to do this, even if I miss it 7,000 times.
I have started so many things and not finished them. So, you know what? Good for you, because I don't have that type of personality.
Yeah, but then
you were probably sorry. I was just going to say, you were probably the big pusher that I am here, sitting here doing this podcast.
I'm a pusher. I push people. That's what I do.
In a good way. In a good way.
Mean Girls quote. But yeah, I am kind of high-strung and driven like that. But then I played disc golf with you outside of Philly. And it was fun because it was a fun walk in the woods. And I'm really bad. We were playing with Ultra Stars, and I can't really throw that far. I'm still kind of new to disc sports. And our guy friends can throw really far because they are men and they have a lot more weight that they can put behind the disc. So that was fun. I was pretty bad.
I think you're forgetting. So one of our friends who went with us never played Frisbee with us. He was just kind of like lived on the same street as us. Yes, lived on the same street as us, lived in the same dorm as us. So he didn't have any skills. Do you remember the hole where there were 2 trees in front of us at the tee, like 10 feet in front of us? And he absolutely whiffed it straight into the tree on his first like drive or whatever it's called. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
So
I do.
You didn't do that. You didn't do that.
I didn't do that. Yeah. So that was like better, but I think probably the best part of that overall experience was the fact that we were drinking screwdrivers the whole time. So that's what that was my main takeaway from pandemic disc golf.
I was the responsible driver. So, but I have a competitive edge. Well, I think I forget if we talked about this in a previous episode. I don't like playing and drinking at the same time. But then also if like everyone else is, then I am automatically a little bit better than them, and I like winning.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think one of our friends was asking, do you like winning more or do you hate losing more? And I don't know what it is for me, but I feel like I hate losing more.
I hate losing.
Yeah.
I'm a bad loser.
So sometimes disc golf can be rough for me, like you said, playing with some of our guy friends who could throw a little bit farther. Also just playing with a normal disc, like a Frisbee disc, rather than one of those disc golf discs. Like it doesn't go as far.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so. I've felt that frustration because I have actually played a decent amount of disc golf during this quarantine. Usually, well, one of my other hobbies that I put down on our list was just driving a lot to go see my boyfriend. Because he lives an hour and a half away from me. But he and I, a lot of time over the summer, we would just go play disc golf because there's a really nice course by his house. And I was actually looking through, we had our anniversary back in March. And so I posted something on Instagram and I was trying to look for pictures of the past year. And most of them are just selfies we took after we played a round of disc golf. So I got a decent amount in, but I mostly just play with the normal like Ultra Star, like you were saying. He and I did buy the 3 basic pack disc golf discs that we bought at like Dick's Sporting Goods or something. So the driver, second one, and the putter.
Yeah.
But on the first day we got them, we just went to a field and we were like throwing the driver as far as we could to kind of feel how it would go, what the flight path would be like, because it curves a lot more than a normal Frisbee would.
Oh, interesting.
And then like a few days or a week after that, I went to a really tiny disc golf course near my apartment, like 5 different holes. And on the very first throw, I whiffed it into the woods. And I spent like 10 I spent 10 minutes like in a little creek trying to find it, and I just couldn't. And then I gave up on actual disc golf and just kept playing with a Frisbee instead.
Ain't that how it be? Yeah. So that's our disc golf journey in terms of what we spent the pandemic doing in search of disc sport activities. Very excited to try to find something to do with Ultimate for sure. That was like the only Ultimate thing you could do besides just standing in a field and throwing a disc by yourself. Don't I know it, brother? But this is my official application to if you are in New York City and you know of any summer leagues or teams. Like I would prefer to play women's, but I'd also do mixed, if the vibe was right.
Well, we looked up, I think we saw 3 women's teams in New York City.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So let me know. It's been interesting seeing like the Lehigh Valley group meets are the ones that I'm in. So I see like people organizing some like masked pickups, but obviously I'm not in that for either around here or in New York yet. So once we get there, hopefully I'll be able to get that inside edge and start to actually toss the disc around a little bit.
So I think we're wrapping up this episode, but before we officially close out, we're going to have our PS zone. Still don't have a name for it, but that's okay. Maybe hit us up on the Twitter and let us know what you think. But yeah, head out to the PS zone. Scotti has crafted a timeline of all the quarantine memes and trends that people were going through as they were all sitting inside by themselves. So we're going to go through that timeline, kind of reminisce about the past year, and then we can rank our favorite ones, talk about our favorite ones.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys there. Also, speaking of Twitter, we also made an Instagram. We mentioned that. It's at lang.it.out. Follow us there. Maybe we'll post some fun, goofy stuff a little more, some pictures. We've got a lot of stuff lined up coming up.
Scotti and I were trying to find Frisbee pictures of ourselves, and I think most of them we look bad. There's one that she posted. The second one in her post. I have a whatever. Well, it's the second one in her post. Because she's stepping down so far on the ground, like so much force on the ground, her cheeks, like something's happening with her cheeks, and she looks like a 70-year-old woman.
I look 1,000 years old, so go check us out there. And as for this podcast, we'll see you in the PS zone, and other than that, we will see you actually next week. So we will catch you on the flip. For now, I've been Scotti Dempsey.
I'm Chelsea Pockets.
We're signing off.
This has been Laying It Out.